If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you've found it. It just gets better and better as the years roll on. Steve Jobs. Welcome to the Phoenix Rising podcast. Can you imagine if our greatest mentors, teachers, inventors, and entrepreneurs chose to settle in life? I think about this all the time. Like, I think about the people who have made the greatest impact with their speeches, with their books, with their inventions, like the opening quote of this podcast episode with Steve Jobs. Like, the amount of things that we wouldn't have in life that have been so huge in our development, but also just in like our advancements. What if those people decided to settle? What if Steve Jobs decided to never go after this idea and Apple was never created, iPhones, iTunes, all these things that we have now that have become such a huge convenience? Like, what if he didn't do that? I even think of people like Alexander Graham Bell and Einstein and Edison. Like, what if we didn't have electricity? What, like, all this stuff. Like, I just always like think about these things when sometimes I'm stuck or I want to give up or like I'm just overwhelmed with doubt and fears and insecurities. Like, think about the people in your life on even the smallest scale who decided to follow their passion, follow their big idea, follow their calling, and chose not to give up. And them choosing not to give up, how much of an impact that has made in your life. So that's what we're going to talk about today is don't you dare settle in anything in your life, because it is like the domino effect and how it affects other people's lives without you even realizing it. I have another really good quote for you that I want to share. I've got my notes here by Nelson Mandela. He says, "There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one that you know you are capable of living." And it's so true. Like, gosh, I think sometimes, and like this is true of not just like creators and entrepreneurs and artists and authors and like inventors, but it's true of everybody. We get so caught up when you're pursuing something great or you're pursuing something big. It feels like such an isolated experience. And the issue with thinking this way is when it feels like an isolated experience, it's so easy to get caught up in your head and allow your doubts and fears and insecurities to keep you from doing what you came here to do. And what you don't realize is if you take yourself out of that mindset and think about all the people who need you to do what you came here to do, all those doubts and insecurities and fears kind of take a back seat. Like, they're there, but they're not as loud because it no longer is about you. It's about the people you're impacting. It's about the difference that you're making, the lives, the way that you are going to leave this world a much better place. And I would imagine that some of our greatest people, our greatest artists, inventors, entrepreneurs, artists, musicians, that's probably how they kept going, is they weren't thinking just about themselves. They were also thinking about like the person on the other end of like how many people can benefit from electricity, the people who are finding cures and like studying medicine and holistic things that are like, how many people could benefit if I found a natural solution to this? How many people could benefit from relating to the lyrics of this song or relating to whatever it is that you're pursuing? Like, that's what keeps you going, is you realize that it's not just about you. Like, you don't just have a passion or calling or something that pulls you that's just to benefit you. You are just the person that it is being manifested through, given the talent, skills, and capabilities that's going to impact everybody else. So thinking about these quotes and like settling and following your gut and to keep looking for it, keep in mind that what you're pursuing or what you're looking for or searching for is also searching for you. Like, this is like basic law of attraction 101, is this is how it works, is when you put energy and intention and attention into something and pursue it with all your heart and soul, that thing is also going to naturally magnetize towards you. That's how quantum physics works. That's the way vibrations work, is something that is vibrating at the exact same energetic space as you, or whatever it is that you're pursuing, is going to start showing up. You become a magnet pulling that into your life, but that opposite also becomes a magnet that's pulling you. So when you settle, the same is also true. The people, places, things, and experiences that match the vibration of this, we'll call it lower frequency, this lower level. It's not bad or good. We've talked about that. There's a whole episode on that of nothing is either bad or good. It just is. But when you are functioning at a life that is less than you know you are capable of, people, experiences, opportunities, things like that, that match that level are going to show up because that is what your attraction point is. Now, there's periods in life where I don't necessarily consider it settling. I consider it taking a break, where you have gone through just so much heartache or setbacks or obstacles that like you're just tired and you just need a second to refresh and take a break and start back up. That's totally fine. You know, Winston Churchill, he has this saying that I really love that says success is going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. And I think about this too, because it's so interesting, because it's not like a lot of people think they just go from failure to failure, like still in the pursuit of a goal, but they're like miserable about it. And that's not really what he's talking about. Like, you don't lose enthusiasm, because deep down, there's always this part of us when you're pursuing something deep down, you know that what you're pursuing or what you're trying to do eventually is going to work. It's eventually going to break. So if you fail over and over and over and over, and you experience loss and heartache and setbacks and obstacles over and over and over and over, you know, though, that eventually deep down, it will break. And eventually you will have success. Eventually you will be living the life that you really want. That's the important thing. Like, I think sometimes when we fail and we quit or we give up, I always question the sincere desire of what it is that you were pursuing. Because if you pursue something and it doesn't work out and you just quit and you're like, yeah, whatever, I don't actually think that you cared that much about it to begin with. Because when it is true and it is like that thing that pulls you, wakes you up in the middle of the night, you can't stop thinking about it. Like, that thing doesn't go away. You can't just quit. And even if you did quit temporarily and you're like, you know what? I surrender. I give up. I can't do it anymore. That would only be a short time before it comes back up and that thing is pulling you again. It's calling you again. It's like, hey, like, I know you're tired, but like, you know you need to do this. You know this is the life you came here to live. You know this is what you were made for. You know that you're settling. Like, that's when it's true. If it's something that you can just let go of and it goes away, well, I don't believe that that was something that was ever really meant for you to begin with. That was just a fleeting idea or a fleeting opportunity, but not something that's like pulling on your soul. So I think that's the biggest difference, is like when you're hitting failures and you're ready to quit and you're ready to give up, the truth is, like, those things that like are burning at your soul, you can't give up. Even if you're tired. That's the crazy thing, is it's like, even when you're tired, it's like, yeah, I'm tired, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you're not going to knock me down, because like, this is what I'm doing. It's that unshakable, assertive confidence and pursuit of like, every single person can tell me no, but this is what I'm doing. I don't really care. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't care if the entire world is up against me. Like, there's something in me that I have to do this. That's the difference. That's the difference between pursuing something that like is your calling or is meant for you, or you just know in your gut and soul, like, this is what you came here to do. And when you're pursuing things based off of like your ego or shoulds or what you think you're supposed to do, which there was an episode I did a couple weeks ago about figuring out your ego and your intuition. So, settling. Don't settle. I mean, I feel like our entire society is full of people who have settled. And that's also why there's so many people that are numbing themselves out, because the reality of the pain that you are living a life that is not meant for you, or that you know is less than what you really want, is an unbearable reality. So most of the time, any free time people get, they're using that time to escape that reality and numb it out through drugs, alcohol, other addictions. It could be money, shopping, like whatever the escape is. It's because it gives them the temporary relief from the truth that you know you're settling. You know that you are doing work that you could care less about. You are in friendships that have zero depth. You're in a relationship that doesn't light your soul on fire. You're doing things that don't matter to you. So yeah, when it comes time for like free time and to take a break, of course, you're going to go try and escape that, looking for some sort of relief because the reality of your life is too painful for you to deal with. But here's the beautiful thing about life is every single moment, every single day is an opportunity for you to choose differently. You are not married to your situation or your circumstance. You always have the power to change. And the place that you get in trouble is when you forget that. When you forget that you have a choice. You got to where you are because of choices you made in the past. If you want a different future, make different choices in the present. Every single day, every moment, you can wake up and reinvent yourself and reinvent your life. If you are not happy with your body, you are one meal away from changing that direction, one workout away, one thought away. If you are not happy in your friendships, it is your choice to decide that you want differently. If you're not happy in your relationship, it is your choice to decide that you want something different, your job, your work, every single day. So quit giving your power away and acting like you are a victim and you have no choice. And this is just the life that you have to resign to. Don't settle. Don't you dare settle. Because in settling, not only are you doing a disservice to your own soul, but you're doing a disservice to the world and the people who need what it is that you have to offer and what you came here to do. So if you're in a place where you're like, I'm not happy with my job, I'm not happy with my work, my friendships, my relationships, my body, and you find yourself looking for escape, maybe you're smoking pot all day, maybe you're drinking 4 or 5 nights a week, maybe you're binge eating, maybe you're addicted to retail shopping, maybe you're addicted to porn, maybe you're getting involved in all these things that you know are temporary because the second you stop doing them, that feeling comes back. That feeling comes back the next morning when you're hungover. That feeling comes back the next morning after you've spent thousands of dollars that you didn't really need stuff on. It comes back and it's still nagging at you of like, damn, I still feel the same way before I did that. Because deep down, you know that you are so much more capable of a life than the one that you've been living and putting your energy into every single day. It's not easy. And I would be doing a disservice to you if I sat here and talked about this and empowered you to make change. And then I wasn't also honest with you that it is hard. In pursuing the life of your dreams, you will also be faced with every single nightmare that you have. Not to stop you or to limit you, but to empower and strengthen you, because each time you overcome those obstacles, you become a different person. You evolve and you grow. And part of becoming who we came here to be is life can't just hand you the exact thing that you want right away. Sometimes you're not ready for it. Sometimes there is a certain amount of growth required of you before you are a match for that dream job or business or person or opportunity. So of course you have to have obstacles, because in those obstacles, you're like a diamond that is being put under pressure that has to be perfectly shaped and molded until you're ready for this thing that it is that you're trying to manifest. If you were given everything, like, have you ever thought about this? Think about the times in your life where you call it praying to God or the universe or whatever, where you're like, why won't you give me this thing? And you didn't get it. And then years go by, in hindsight, you look back and you're like, man, if I would have gotten that, I wasn't mature enough to be able to handle it. I didn't have the skills, the mindset, or maybe you didn't have the appreciation. Maybe in a relationship or a business or a job, you were so deep into a sense of entitlement that even if it would have given it, you would have been given that thing or that person, you wouldn't have been able to appreciate it because you've never appreciated not having it. You've never gone through loss. You've never felt what it is to lose those things. There's the whole, what is it? It's greater to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. This is a debatable topic. So many people have. I do agree with this statement for a lot of reasons, because each time you open yourself up to something that expands you, even if you lose it, you don't go back to the smaller version of yourself. You are still an expanded and evolved version of yourself. You've grown. You have become more aware. You know more. You don't go backwards. So whether to like have success and lose it, to have loved and lost, whatever it all is a gift and a blessing that helps you grow and become your best self. So when you're pursuing whatever it is that you're pursuing, or you have this deep burning desire in your heart and soul of something that you really want, and maybe you don't have it yet, don't settle. Just because you don't have it doesn't mean you won't have it. It just means you are still being refined and having to go through some things to be a good match for that. And if you fail over and over and over and over again, welcome to the journey of living the life of your dreams. You are facing every nightmare and every dream, every demon that could possibly exist, so that those things no longer have power over you. So when you pursue this as your friend and as this podcast and this video, you will be scared. You will have more anxiety than you've ever had. You will have doubt. You will have sleepless nights. You will have moments where you're crying by yourself, feeling like you can't do it anymore. You will feel like you're losing your mind. You will sometimes wonder if you're going to run out of money or run out of patience. Everything you fear that you are truly afraid of, being abandoned, being alone, being broke, whatever, you will face it in the pursuit of the things that you deeply want. And here's the reason why, is because the whole intention behind you dealing with those things and acknowledging them is so that you can remember they have no power over you. Instead, what you are doing right now is you are allowing these illusions of fear, insecurity, doubt, whatever, to keep you from living the life that you came here to live. If you're watching this and listening to this and you don't have the things that you really want in life, on whatever category that is, money, job, relationships, friendships, you have to admit to yourself that part of the reason why you don't have that is because you're scared. You're scared to face the things that you think hold some power over you. But the reality is, you've had the power the whole time. And when you start taking those risks and taking a chance and going after what you really want, you completely eliminate all the fear. You disempower these things. I've used this analogy before. It's like when you're scared there's something under the bed or in the closet and it's dark and you see a shadow, and so you avoid looking under the bed, and then the second you're willing to face the fear head on and you look under the bed and you find out it's like a stuffed teddy bear, and you laugh at yourself because you're like, I have avoided looking under the bed for so many years because I thought there was like a rattlesnake under there or like some demon underneath there. And this whole time it was a teddy bear. That's the way your life works too. You're like, I have avoided going after my dreams and what I really want because that's what I was scared of. A little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of heartbreak and sadness, a few tears. That's what kept you from living the life that you want. Don't let that happen. Don't go the rest of your life just waiting and waiting for somebody else to grant you the power and the permission to do what you want. Nobody's going to do it, and nobody can do it because this entire world is full of people projecting their own fears and insecurities on each other. You tell somebody that you believe you can be the next Steve Jobs, they're going to be like, oh, good for you. So what's your backup plan if that doesn't work out? Because they're projecting their own fears and insecurities. You tell somebody you believe in prosperity and abundance, they're gonna be like, oh, that's great. That's great that you have a positive mindset. But have you seen the stocks lately? Have you seen what's happening in the economy? They're projecting their fears and insecurities. You tell somebody you believe in true love. Have you been on a dating app recently? Whew, dating world is rough. I mean, I don't know. If I were you, what you've got going is pretty good. Like, don't leave what's good in the pursuit of something great, because like what you got is pretty good. Everybody is always projecting their own fears and insecurities. And this is why self-awareness and meditation and mindfulness is so important, because if you don't know yourself, you will get caught up in all that. And before you know it, you are living a life that is not yours, miserable, searching for the answers. So this requires a lot from you. It requires you to be greater than your fears, greater than your environment. It requires you to face every single thing that scares the shit out of you head on. But the reward is far greater than the risk. The reward is you no longer need to numb out to your life, because the reality is you're living what you always wanted to live, instead of escaping and searching for it through everything outside of yourself. So if you can accept and discipline and shift your mindset with the understanding of knowing, yeah, it's probably going to be hard. Yeah, there's probably not going to be a lot of other people doing it, and you're going to constantly have to overcome your fears and doubts and insecurities. And yeah, there's going to be tons of times you want to give up, and you're probably going to fail. You're going to pursue one idea or one person and it's not going to work out. That doesn't mean stop and go settle. That means try again. And this is one of the things I love about fitness. And a lot of times when I've worked one-on-one people and we're working on like big lifts, so things like clean and jerks or snatches or deadlifts or squats or things that are overhead, people are so scared to do it because it's a big, scary lift. And I love it though, because there's this certain point where we get to this weight that we're comfortable with. And this, again, why I love fitness so much is because when you start doing things you've never done in the gym, every single insecurity and fear that you have in other areas of life is going to come up. So it's the gym, your workouts are such a great training ground for the mindset and everything else you need in life. So I'll have a client, we're working one-on-one on doing clean and jerks, and I can see the fear and the anxiety coming up. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And they're like, I don't think I can do this. I'm scared. I'm going to drop it. I'm scared I'm going to do this. And I'll be like, all right, well here, let's try just the bar. I want you to just try just the bar. And they'll do the bar. And I'm like, okay, are you cool if we do like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds? And then we get to this point where there's a mental block or a limiting belief. If I'm like, hey, we're throwing 45s on there. I know you can do this. You can do this. And they're like, no, you're crazy. I can't do that. That's 125 pounds or 135 or whatever the weight is. And I'm like, listen, you're going to try and you're probably not going to do it the first time. I want you to just try it. Just try. I expect you to fail. Like, that's how I started, because what happens is if I expect them to fail, they know that I expect them to fail on the first lift. They're not scared anymore. And this is the way it happens in life. So they'll do it. Boom, can't do it. They drop, they fail. I'm like, cool. You try it though and you fail. Let's try it again. Boom, fail. Boom, fail. Over and over. Try a box jump. You face plant. Cool. Try it again. Face plant. Well, now that you know what it feels like to fail, you're not really scared, are you? You're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I didn't die. All right, let's try this again. And eventually what happens is when you're facing this fear over and over and over again, talk to the person. Just go talk to that person. If they look at you like you're stupid, talk to them. And then you talk to them and they look at you like you're stupid and like, what in the world? What a weirdo. The fear is done now. You faced it head on. It has no power over you. And then eventually, like with lifting and with the gym, a client will put the weight on the bar. They'll fail over and over and over and over again. And then one day it happens. They pull the lift and they do it and they stand there kind of stunned like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. I'm like, well, yeah, because you have been constantly trying and trying and trying, realizing that failing is nothing. It is what it is. The first time you do anything, you're going to fail because you're clueless. You don't know. First time you do a lift, you're like, oh, I pulled too soon. Oh, I didn't totally like do full extension. Oh, I used too much of my back and not enough of my legs. Like, you learn with each failure. It doesn't mean anything about you. And that's the thing that keeps people settling, is they think, if I fail, it means this about me. If I get heartbroken, it means I'm unlovable, or it means I'm not worthy, or it means I'm not good enough. If my business fails, it means I'm a failure. Like all these things. And then eventually, like, you have all these failures and you're like, but I'm still me. I'm still here. It didn't actually destroy me like I thought it would. I thought like that was going to totally wreck me, and I was going to, like, it's so funny the stories we tell ourselves. Like, if that happens, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to lose my mind. They're going to put me in a straitjacket and put me in the psych ward because I just will be so far down this deep, dark hole. I'm never going to see the light of day again. Nobody's going to call me. I'm going to turn into one of those weirdos that like can't do anything. Like the stories we tell ourselves, and then we actually go through the experience, because the experience will find you, whether you try to run and hide from it or not, because it wants you to grow and it wants you to learn. And then we go through the experience and you're like, wow, the story I was telling myself about this was ridiculous. So whatever it is that you're pursuing in your life, whether it's your dream business, whether it's your dream job, your dream house, your dream relationship, friendships, dream body, whatever it is, let me empower you, disempower you, and then re-empower you at the same time. You can have everything that you want. You absolutely can. If you did not have a deep, burning heart and soul desire for it, then I wouldn't believe that. But anything that like is pulling you, you cannot deny that like something in you is being pulled to do this or whatever it might be. If you have that, as long as you continue and you keep going, I know you're going to have it. Now here's the disempowering part. Like I said, you will fail. You will be scared. You will have more anxiety than you've ever had. You will cry. You will feel your greatest demons come up for you to face. Your nightmares will also be part of your pursuit of your dreams. You're going to have to really overcome some obstacles. You're going to have to deal with a lot of shit. But the re-empowerment part is you are totally capable of doing that. And every time you do that, little by little, you disempower all those fears and doubts. And now you're just full speed ahead in creating the life that you want. So don't settle. Everybody's had heartbreak. Everybody has had setbacks. Everybody has had the rug pulled out from underneath them and hit total rock bottoms. Every single person. It is not an isolated experience. Do not be the person, though, who lets that make them play it safe and settle for the rest of their life. You're stronger than that. There's so much more for you to live than a life that is less than you are capable of. That's all I'm going to give you today. Turn off this podcast or this video. Make a commitment to yourself. You're done settling. Just like imagine I'm like sitting in front of you and going, man, what are you doing? Go do what you know you came here to do. Quit being scared. Yeah, I'm scared too. We're all scared, but who cares? Go do it and we'll be scared together, and then we'll be on the other side and be like, wow, it really wasn't that bad. Yeah, it sucked at times, but it really wasn't that bad. Go live the life that you know you came here to live. Listen to that calling. Listen to that thing that is pulling you. Trust it. Trust it. Accept that you're going to have to go through some stuff to grow in order to have what it is that you want. But like I said, the reward is way worth the risk and the fears and the insecurities that are involved in it. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I come out with new stuff every single week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Phoenix Rising podcast. I am Ashley Drummond, and I will see you next week. Bye.